I've been reflecting on how it is that I got to this point where I feel so much gratitude. I feel so aligned. I feel like everything that I've ever dreamt of is beginning to manifest into my reality. And I'm very conscious and aware of the journey of me getting there. I started thinking about when did all of this begin to click and to process and to manifest. And it really comes down to choosing to step into your alignment. I think as a society, as spiritual beings, when we are in a state of unawareness, we kind of find ourselves addicted to the feeling of being out of alignment because this looks like, struggling. This looks like being the victim. This looks like receiving pity and being a part of the drama and being able to tell a story and receive empathy and sympathy from other people. Like, woe is me. But when you shift out of that frequency, out of that mentality of the victimhood, the victim mindset of why can't I receive? Why can't I achieve my desired reality, right? When you shift out of that, it starts to bring so many things to your awareness. Things that you've essentially been doing that go against the grain, that kept you out of alignment. Because when you come into this world, you are already aligned, and everything that you experience was designed to take you out of alignment. But now that you're aware, it's time for us to shift back. And so, for my own personal experience, I realized that everything really started to click for me when I decided to step into alignment. When I decided to let go of the false narratives, the beliefs that I've been programmed to believe, when I started to reprogram my own consciousness, when I started to raise my own frequency, when I stopped playing the victim, when I started speaking life, when I started surrounding myself with people, places, things, and ideas that aligned with my desired frequency, when I began to consciously take action towards my desired reality and overcoming the fear. Oof, that was a big one. The fear. Because that's essentially what keeps us from even making the choice to begin with. Making the choice to no longer subscribe to the old version of ourselves. Doing it scared anyway, and then realizing that there was nothing to be afraid of to begin with. That's what I started doing, and it took some time. But I started with baby steps, and I started with what I resonated with versus what other people were doing, because what works for other people isn't going to work for you. What worked for other people may not work for me either, because alignment looks different. My form and version of alignment looks very different from someone else's version of alignment. But it's that self-awareness, that self-reflection, the self-work, the self-love that gets you back into your alignment, your frequency. What are you here to do? What mission are you being called to? What gifts do you have to offer the world and beyond? That is what I mean by stepping into alignment, being able to act from that space, that heart center space, and not going against the grain is exactly how you can begin to feel all of the beautiful things that come with being in alignment, being on the frequency that you're meant to be on. Okay, so yeah, how did this happen, man? Well, first of all, I started to let go of a lot of the people, places, and things that felt really off, and I was just showing up because I felt like it was my duty to do so. I started to express who I really am, authenticity. I started to share with people the gifts that I've been given: speaking, writing, channeling, and not being ashamed of these gifts, and not worrying about what other people had to say, because if they had something to say that they just weren't meant to receive, right? Because what happens on the other side of that is the fact that I am aligning with my soul tribe. I'm aligning with the people who are meant to be hearing these messages, who are meant to be receiving and elevating as a part of the collective. And so that was the result of me stepping into my alignment and my frequency. And what else began to happen? I no longer have any fear of criticism, you know, any fear of things not working out. Like, that isn't even in my frequency, because I know for a fact, as long as I continue to do what makes me feel really good and do what feels natural and to be all of me and the most authentic version of myself, everything will always work out. It always does when you are operating from that place of alignment and tapping into your higher frequency. So I have no worries, I have no fears, and I just want this for other people as well. And so I'm sharing my message, and the message to you today is to begin to do it scared and realize that there was never anything to be afraid of in the first place. Because if it's something that's really calling towards you, if it's something that your heart truly desires, it was put there for a reason. Therefore, there's no way you can fail. The only way that you can is if self-doubt, if you allow the self-doubt to creep in, and if you allow the old habits to creep in, the limiting beliefs, the criticism from others who have no idea what your gifts are, or where your mission stems from. When you allow all those things to make it into your reality and dictate the choices that you make, that's when you get stuck. That's when you start operating out of alignment. That's when you start lowering your frequency and your vibration. So the goal, the idea is tap into your heart space, tap into your heart center, figure it out, figure out what it is you truly, truly desire, and go after it. Once you make the choice and the decision to go after it, everything you need in terms of tools and resources and people and places and the financials and everything you need and I mean quite literally everything and anything. There is no limit to what the universe can provide you. It will start to make its way into your reality, because what's happened is you put it out there and you said and you decided to align with your higher frequency. And the laws of the universe state that once you do that, the universe will begin to reflect back to you what it is that you've put out there. So, yes. To recap, align with what it is that your heart center is truly calling you to do. Get very clear on that. Identify what you feel is stopping you from that. What are the fears that come up when you think about doing the thing that you truly want to do? And then just watch as you begin to take action towards the heart-centered thing that you want. Watch as all of those fears start to diminish, because you start to realize that they're not real. And the highest order, the highest timeline is for you to be living your best life. That's all I can say. So all of these situations, these circumstances, these situations, I think I already said that. All of this stuff that's happening that feel like they're never ending, that are clear indications that you're out of alignment, all of those things, they begin to fall off. Life begins to feel like, oh my goodness, I just spoke this thing in, and here it is. Instant manifestation. Constant gratitude. Feeling so high vibrational in any and all situations. Feeling like no matter what it is that you do, you are taken care of. And so it is. That is my self-reflection on how life became amazing. How life will continue to be amazing because, like I said, once you become aware, you can't become unaware. So now it's up to you to make the choice. And please, please, please comment down below what part of this resonated for you. Because I love to hear what others have to say and share with the collective, because as I always say, we're not alone. And so anything that you have to share is bound to help someone else. So thank you guys. Until next time.